Hey, hi everyone. Good to see you all. So this is an opportunity to just connect, check in whatever's happening in your practice, whether you're doing the 7-day cycle or if there's stuff just coming up in life. Yeah, just an opportunity to just be here together, see what's happening. My role is to just kind of be like a mirror. So, not so much answering questions if they come up, but exploring to see, where that question leads, coming to the questioner and to just sort of unravel the question, just to see where it's coming from. Um, yeah, just to be a mirror. So yeah, I'll just open it up. I'd like to hear from you guys, and if there's any question, or if you've never been here before, you can just unmute yourself, or there's a raise hand thing. I think it's different on different people's Zoom interface. So wherever that raise hand is, you can click on that.
Hi everyone. Hey Dan.
Hello.
This is Sergey. Sergey character is here.
Hi, Sergey character.
So it's been very serious and humorous experience at the same time. Initially scared I didn't know how I got here, but now there's more light to it. So beginner's mind is the key. Uh, I didn't know, but there was some longing for something else.
Mhm.
And as you said, the right teacher appears when the student is ready. So the student was about ready to drop the character.
Mm,
Now there is clearly a witness seeing this whole past experiences and the future planning. Um, there, there- there's only way to experience is to do. So there's still unanswered question in my stuff coming up. Mainly, can the mind rewrite itself? Meaning seeing the character from the witness standpoint, still in real life, choices to be made. So when the mind makes the choice, is it on the basis of previous past experiences so you can rewrite it? And does it really matter given that you experience in the moment of now,
mhm,
but there is so much energy, past energy. I
mhm.
don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying.
I think so. Yeah, let's explore it a little bit. So what I hear you asking is, this idea of choosing and a chooser. So you the first thing you said was, can the mind rewrite itself, or so like a new sort of conditioning, or so what I think you're asking is, once we know who we are, we know we're not the character, so how do we move in life,
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah.
There is a screen, right? But there is a famous Inception movie, right? There is a mind within the mind within the mind.
Yeah, yeah. So at the beginning, when we come to this witness, this is a common thing, and it seems that for many people, it seems like I'm either in this witnessing position, just aware, or I'm in the conditioned mind, and so there's this. It's either one or the other, and so when we're just hanging out, like I've watched you in the dyads, you know, you've been your mind has been becoming very quiet. You're in this witnessing kind of zone, and this is where, you know, things there's a sort of alchemy that happens, and this is the mysterious part. And I don't really know what happens, but there's something that happens when we if we can just be okay as the witness, you know, just truly be okay in that don't know mind. You know, there's this alchemy that starts to happen. The energy of life starts to become more and more free. And what can happen is that, you know, words can happen, you know, choosing can happen. And there's this sense that it's just happening. There's this just happeningness about life, and you know, in that place we really don't know, you know, like I really don't know who chooses. You know, that's what the don't know mind is. But yet things seem to be happening. So you know, there was a time when I was spending time at a Zen center in you know, in one of the sessions, and it was the first time where I really kind of noticed that, you know, I was awake, like I was just awareness in that space, but yet I was watching, you know, the character going through all the rituals and bowing, and you know, there's a million different rituals, it was interesting because the body mind knew exactly what to do. It knew this whole little dance that was happening. You know, it knew what foods to eat. So so really somehow it's like the sense of I, you know, really was just resting with presence, just with what's happening now. And then everything just sort of the energies sort of take care of themselves in this space of samadhi. When we're actually in the samadhi state, you know, the energies are just moving, and there's no, you know, this, so that initial separation, you know, the sense that, you know, I'm just witnessing, and the sense that life, you know, the conditioning is over here, somehow they come together. Eventually there's even that separate, that's the final separation, is that there's, you know, and this happens for everyone on the path. There's a stage where it feels like, you know, I'm at peace, you know, I've kind of got it, I'm kind of awake, but then I've lost it. I'm back in the mind. And we do that over and over, until we start to recognize that presence, you know, that beautiful peace is always present. You know, even when that mind is active, even when thoughts are arising, you know, we can inquire in that moment. You know, is that awareness there? You know, is that witness there? You know, and we can start to look directly at the mind, you know, even as it's doing things, even as it's dreaming, it's dream, you know, but we can, so this is a turning point in the practice where we can look directly at the mind as it's, as we're just allowing it to be as it is, you know, and watch it doing its thing, rather than, you know, just getting caught in it. And it's like, okay, now I'm in the mind, now I'm in the witness. Somehow we can just watch it. And for me, there are, you know, some of the practices that I've shared during the retreat will help to do that. You know, we start to watch, you know, whether the thoughts are made up of visual components, auditory, or both. You know, we can start to, you know, or during our dreams at night, as the mind starts dreaming, we can start to just watch, you know, rather than getting taken in the dream, you know, we start to watch the mind as it's doing its thing. So, so it's, for me, it's not about, you know, this or that. It's somehow we can allow everything to be simultaneously present. You know, even even the thoughts and the conditioning and the samskaras, all of that, that we're, at the beginning, it seems like we're trying to, we're separating from that. We're coming to this witness, but then we come back to it. We allow it to be as it is. And by that allowing, when there's no resistance to what is, it's all just a play then. There's no sense of I in it anymore. If I know who I am, then, the mind can just be this play. And there's a feeling of childlikeness to it, or a feel like it's not as serious. I think you mentioned the word serious at the beginning.
I
But
said that it's both. It's both. Feels both serious and the same humorous, easy. Meaning, like
yeah,
that's the that's the paradox. It's both at the same time.
yeah, yeah. So that seriousness is, that's the old conditioning. It's
That's
like,
right.
yeah, and
Sergey character is very serious.
yeah,
He's been serious with my.
yeah, yeah, and that's okay. So once that energy, it just becomes more and more free. And the Sergei character is the interface with life. So it's not about getting rid of that interface, but it's now, like you said, it's being rewired, or it's being transformed now, as the I thought is disentangling, or however you want to say that. We realize we're not that character. Then energies become more and more free, and the character becomes lighter. It just becomes more of a, more permeable to that light, and that expression of who we actually are. Yeah. So what are you, may I ask what you're working with in your,
Well, the Sergey character is a beginner in this whole spiritual journey. He started meditation about 6 months ago, right? And was not aware of any specific techniques, and just to find some peace and calmness.
yeah.
And he did found some, but what he came to realize is that the whole rigid structure is the wrong way to approach that, and it's it's okay just to let it be whatever that is at the moment,
Mhm.
instead of locking itself into some spiritual practices or techniques or anything. It's just being in the moment
Yeah,
and allowing things to happen.
yeah, yeah. So when you're doing meditation, for example, you're just sort of letting things be as they
I
are?
The Sergei Garda started with traditional things such as concentration on the breath, and then allowing for focus shift. But now you move to just letting it be, just noticing where it goes,
Mhm.
including if the thoughts come up, let them be, and if they want to be analyzed, they get analyzed, and relieved, they just come and go. So whatever comes up.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So, and how is the concentration? Is your mind, the attention fairly present for long periods of time?
Yes,
Mhm.
and it has been increasing.
Good. Yeah, then that's perfect. Then yeah, just keep going, and whatever unfolds in that space, then we just allow it, and the clearing process just really happens on its own. And sometimes in that space, there's subtle things will come up. Subtle. I think I've talked about it in some of the teachings, but a subtle belief, or maybe an expectation in the mind, like some little things that are usually unconscious, they can start to come up to the surface. And you might, realize like the mind is still, it's still hoping for something, or, quite often, in that space, like the mind, that conditioned mind, that, maybe we something we've read or something a belief that something's going to be achieved, whatever it is, these things can percolate up to the surface, and we realize that we're actually sitting with these little subtle programs that are still running, and then once they're made conscious, then that energy can become free. And and we never know, like for any individual, we never know what that's going to be, or maybe it's a past experience, maybe it goes back to childhood. It can be, on the psychological level, it can be, on the just conditioned learning level, or sometimes a totally unexpected phenomena will arise. Yeah, we just never know what to expect in any given situation. Just allowing all of it. Yeah, and we
Just
never.
mention the just mention the word I. Did you speak from dance character, or where did you speak from? You mentioned in my teachings. I mentioned. What do you mean by I? In this case, for you.
Yeah, well, so for me, the teachings, if I get myself out of the way, words tend to just come. Like even a situation like this, like what we're doing right now, you know, I I find, there's a putting myself, in these sorts of conditions, putting the character in these conditions, interacting in this way. There tends to be sort of an aliveness or an energy that comes through that's it's different than the the little character. It's like
So it
something.
is a it's like a free flow. You don't think it. You don't control it. So
Yeah,
spontaneous.
yeah, and it feels good.
It's
I feel there's an energy to it. Yeah,
sincerity and energy.
yeah, like an
It's
aliveness to it.
coming from the heart. Coming from the heart. If we have to use the language,
Yeah,
not from the.
and the more I'm in a sort of place of not knowing, um, I don't that answer when people ask questions, I really don't know anything. I don't have formulated answers or pointers or anything. Although I've read, the character was really drawn to all the sutras and all of that, but I realized, at the end of exploring all of that stuff, I realized I wasn't free. I still, it was all mental, and all the mind loves to create these facsimiles of the truth and of the path. So yeah, so for me, it's a constant coming back to that the moment, what's happening here, and noticing, that sometimes a little residue of the Dan character will come up to the surface, and something to be cleared, or there can still be little contractions, and so yeah, for me, doing this type of thing is it's like clearing out the cobwebs. It's like uh, it yeah, it is to me like putting your external world into a a configuration that is sort of reflecting how you want to live, is really important. So for me, that's part of what this is, this whole thing. Yeah.
Something that was said really landed with me that it's easier for either beginner's mind or somebody who went on a long journey and then dropped everything that they learned. So kind of end up in the same state.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I
Like,
I think there's a benefit. Different people on the path do it different ways. So, like someone like Ramana Maharshi was an amazing example of someone who he had no learning, in terms of academic learning when he had a full awakening, So he just lied down and somehow wanted to experience death, and he realized it's the body that dies and he doesn't die. And But then, he was many, many years later, people started showing up and he started speaking. And then he was actually drawn to the teachings and the sutras and all the Vedic knowledge. He became an expert in that, but later on, so he had a true beginner's mind at the beginning, and then sometimes, he wasn't looking at those teachings to try and find the truth or anything. He just realized there's some amazing pointers there and it could be helpful for people. And so he started learning and absorbing and became an amazing scholar as well, even though he would never say he was a scholar, but he could speak about the Vedas and the Upanishads and all of that. So yeah, so it's that beginner's mind is, that's the liberation, and then whatever we do after that, some people, they're not drawn to teaching, so they can just stay there, and then they don't need to go back, into the mind, into teachings and all of that. It depends what the path is and where the energies lead. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah. Thanks, Sergey. I'll go to Monique. Hi, Monique.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Um, I asked you a while ago, I don't know, a few months or I don't remember. Um, I was with you at that moment, I mean, online, and when it started it, and I said, keep having that experience that I am not here. Am I here? I don't feel like I am here. And it's you. And one time you mentioned that I I was starting, I was remembering that I was dreaming. I think that's what you said. And it didn't really, maybe I got afraid of it. It didn't really, I heard it, but it was like far away. It was not like in me, inside in my heart. And I didn't know what to do with that. And then after that, I started to the only way that I can use the word is I started to remember heaven. I started to remember that I am in heaven right now. I was in heaven. I have always been in heaven. I never left. I called it heaven because maybe because I was brought up Catholic but for me it was heaven. For me it was being, I don't know if I could say being with God or being there. And you use the word simultaneously, and this is exactly when I do the dyad, this is exactly how I feel. I go inside, I'm still, and I ground myself, and this is how I feel. Everything is simultaneously. I am everywhere in the same time, but there is like no time, no space, but I am everything. And but I want to ask you a question that I asked you before, and I don't know why I'm stuck with it. It's I cannot let it go. And it's the reason why I cannot let it go is I've been having the experience of um, there's no time and space. Like there's only one thing. This like it's very clear in my mind. So because the reason why I want to ask that question is because I'm know A Course in Miracle, and I knew the reason why how I know the Course in Miracle is well, this is a I don't know if I need to say that. I went on my bicycle because I didn't know who I was, and I bicycled like 9,000 miles in 11 months because I wanted to know who I was. And in that time, I was by myself and no TV, nothing, no phone. And the customer call, it was like a download into my mind. It just came in, but I had no idea it was a book that somebody wrote. I had no idea, I didn't know. So that's how I understood the teaching of A Course in Miracle. And I was trying to explain like a friend of mine that it was a non-dual teaching. I mean, it was totally a non-dual teaching, the way I received it, I felt it. And I didn't know how to explain it. So I asked Jesus, and they told me that when I was trying to explain the what I received, what I saw, like I call it download because I don't know how it's explained it. And they show me the book, A Course of Miracle. And I went, oh my God, somebody wrote it. It is written. And I said, who wrote that? And they said, Jesus wrote that. And I thought, well, this is the only one that could have written that. So I asked Jesus when I'm trying to explain people, A Course in Miracle is a non-dual teaching. So I asked Jesus, how can I explain that this is a non-dual teaching? And I think I told you that before. When I asked you the question, I woke up one morning and I did the sign of the cross, like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And in that, I heard that the Course of Miracle or any teaching, any spiritual teaching, it's not for God. God doesn't need to hear teaching. Like I use the word God, the consciousness, awareness. They don't need the teaching. Who needs the teaching? I do. The persona, the identity, or whatever needs to hear the teaching. So when I received the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, like the Trinity, that's how it was explained to me that it was still a non-dual teaching because the one who needs to hear it, it's um, the being, the human, is the human being, not God. God doesn't need that. It knows who it is, what it is. And awareness only knows awareness anyway, it doesn't know anything else. So there is, okay, there I come with this. The you're gonna um in the Vedas, the Vedanta, they use the creator, the destroyer, and the preserver. Okay, don't say anything. Let me finish.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds familiar.
Okay. I know I ask you, but I'm still stuck with it because, like the creator, the destroyer, and the preserver, in truth, there is no time. There is no time for this to destroy and to create and to preserve. There is no time. To be home, to come home, there is no time. It's just, it has to be immediate. Not it has to be, it is. It is immediate because it has always been. Because I don't need to get there. I have always been here. So I am here. There's no time for that. Okay. The reason why I say that is never understood they call that the divine trinity. And then I've been reading it and like Brahma and Shiva and Vishnu, and then they used Brahman, which is the God. So my question is, the creator, the destroyer, and the preserver is the same thing than the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is my question. This is the way I see it. I can be totally wrong because
Yeah.
maybe because I don't understand um, those three things, the creator, the destroyer, and the preserver.
Mm.
So,
So what I would say, first of all, is a few things. So, the first thing, like from the big picture point of view, so So this is a very, academic sort of question. This is like the kind of question, someone like Joseph Campbell would take this and run with it, and so I could address it from that perspective, kind of going into the details of the more the Hindu tradition and the Christianity and commonality between those traditions. Personally, I don't feel that those concepts don't line up 100%. Like conceptually, the mind, there are nuances and differences, but there are things that are similar as well. So I wouldn't say that they're a one-to-one correlation. There's definitely some differences. The archetypes that they represent are different. But in the big picture, I would say, whatever answer you might get to this question, how is that going to benefit you?
Yes,
Like
this
how
is a
how is that going to liberate you? If I were to say yes, they line up, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma is, represents this and that, and there's this beautiful correlation, and explore it. We explore this rich tapestry of ideas and exploration. It's like my teacher that I worked with. I see a lot of my own self in that question because I used to come to him with questions like that, and he sometimes he would give me an answer, but more often he would just say, like, so what? So what if you find the answer? Like, if if there's a connection between these things, there's a tendency for the mind to want to understand it all, to create this sort of map. And I love map. My character loves maps. When it comes to the perennial philosophy, I love creating connections between the traditions, and there's a beauty and an energy to that. If there might be an energy or an aliveness that is guiding that exploration. So that's beautiful. But I've also realized, you know, there's the map and then there's the territory. So at a certain point, the map is not going to be satisfying. It's like the menu and the meal, right? If you just spend forever with the menu, you miss the meal. Or in Buddhism sometimes they talk about eating the menu, and taking the menu for the meal. So I would say, if there's an energy to it, that's something to explore. I've done a lot of exploration of these things. I find, like Joseph Campbell, if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, he does a really fine job, showing the archetypal aspects of these different things, and he also explains really well that like there are these different metaphors in these different traditions. So, we can look at the totality of a human being through just two archetypes like Shiva and Shakti, the masculine and feminine. And then there's this what's born of that, the marriage of that. And then we can use the Trimurti as another lens to look through. We could use the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's another lens to look through to see the totality. And I think each lens brings certain things into clarity for us. So there's a beauty in those unique lenses. And then there are things that they have in common, because there's what you're seeing is still, it's always what is. It's the totality of what is. So So I'm not going to go into
No, it's okay.
yeah.
I agree with what you're saying.
Mm,
When you said, the first thing you said, why are you working on that? What do you expect from it? And this is exactly why I asked, because that was the question I asked. I asked myself, why am I stuck with that? And then it's like there is an opening that needs to happen in me or in my mind or in my brain or whatever, and I cannot get it. And this is why I don't know why I am using that according to the past information, the past experience that I had, the knowledge, whatever. And your question was perfect, asking me why do you want to do that? I'm stuck with it that it is the same. I want to be it the same. And maybe I want to prove that there is no time and space and everything is the same and it doesn't take any time to wake up because I don't need to wake up because I've always been awake because I've always been that.
mm,
I cannot not be that. It's impossible.
mm.
So maybe this, I don't know, this, I want to prove that to myself or I don't know, but I'm not going to ask you anymore. But
Well, and you
I am
said
going to be totally open to hear, I'm willing to hear what needs to be heard and stop to have my mind stuck on it.
you said something about it when you were talking about the Course in Miracles that those teachings are for they're not for the I am, which is perfect. It's for the human part of us, and that it's that human part I think that you know is it wants to know. It's like this whole body mind is it's wired for it creates. It's like a mirror. It's creating a facsimile all the time of what can only be truly experienced directly.
Hmm.
So if we realize, that picture will never be complete. I've gone down that rabbit hole. I was attracted to every teaching, and there were writers like Henry Corbin, and describing all, Rudolf Steiner, vast territories. And the more I would learn, the more I felt, it's like I'll never get it. I'll never, that little I will never get it. And the more we explore, the more vast it is, the more mysterious it is. Um,
Well,
so
that's true. That's true. The little high will never get it. The mind will never get it. It's impossible. It's impossible for the mind to get the truth. But I'm sorry if I interrupt you. The first lesson of A Course in Miracle, the first lesson is nothing I see means anything. And right there, I didn't need to go any further. Nothing.
that's perfect.
Not
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
Nothing I see means anything. So whatever I see, it's not what I think it is.
yeah,
So it's just like that there. That was it.
yeah, yeah. So if that really lands, then the rest of it can just be like a play then, so we,
Yes.
we play and explore with these things. So it's not like I can feel like the mind, it's like the mind has it's got its jaws on this problem. But if that first truth really lands, then it never was a problem. It's all just a play. It's a free play of thoughts and ideas and forms and all of it. So then there can be a sense of ease with it, a sense we can still explore it. There might be a real aliveness or an energy, but then it's not a problem. It's just something to play with.
I
Yeah.
can feel the ease now. Maybe that's what I needed to do. I can feel it. I can feel the like everything is getting wider and bigger and not so stuck in the one question that I'm trying to answer. And maybe that's what I need to do. And you did it. It's I can feel that. So thank you. Maybe that's how I need it. Thank you so much.
Sylvina. Hi, Sylvina.
Hi, Dan.
Oh.
First and foremost, thank you so much for your being, for your work, your path, your teachings, everything. I'm so, so grateful. Well, I've been meditating and inquiring and working with vasanas and samskaras a lot. I have been having some glimpses of unity and some kind of Kundalini experiences in my body for a few months already, like shatters and shakings and vibration at the core of the body. I let all just be exactly as it is and appears. So here comes another strong mind, because I've been reading the 3 pillars of Zen.
Oh, yeah.
And I found that the 3 pillars of Zen, there are 4 types of aspirations, it says, for practice. And one of them is to achieve unbound consciousness, which is my hope. It's still my hope. And it says that to achieve Kensho, the most appropriate way is to work with a Koan, preferably assigned by a teacher. Mm-hmm. And this is something I haven't heard in your talks in a deep way. So I wanted to ask if it would be, as I recognize you as my teacher, I wanted to know if that would be something helpful for this moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I really have, I think the best koan that I have come across in my travels is the "Tell me who you are." That's it, like that. So Charles Berner, he came from kind of a Zen tradition, so that the koan, really the whole point of the koan, it's tell me who you are, is unsolvable by the mind. The mind, when it goes into it, the invitation in that is to have a direct experience of who you are. So the mind, the mind hears "tell me who you are," and it will fail. Whatever the mind's doing with that, eventually it's like a dog chasing its tail, and it will always fail. So so there are different koans we can work with, but I love that one because it's guaranteed to fail. The mind will always fail with that. And so whatever's happening with that, in the practice, all the delusions of the mind, the vasanas, the samskaras, all that comes to the surface with that. And we just keep clearing and clearing and clearing. And then eventually, one of those times when we intend to directly experience who we are, the mind won't interfere. It won't move. It'll be, maybe it'll be exhausted, or maybe it's just defeated. It's realized, it's pointless. It's in a sort of disillusionment state. So and so that's when that creates the conditions for the possibility of that direct experience. So for me, the koan, these different types of Zen, there's like the kind of Zen that I was drawn to myself was actually the other kind, the Soto Zen, which is more the sitting practice. Their sort of lineage holder is Dogen, and his instruction is just sit, just sit, and that just sitting is exactly the same as that koan, the is just sitting. If you can just sit, you know, just be here, without any activity that is that you could call meditation. If you're just sitting, then that means the mind has dropped off. The mind and body have dropped off. If you're just truly just sitting, or if you're just being here, so that koan, who are you? Find out who you are. Tell me who you are. It's pointing to the very same thing. What's beyond the mind, and what's beyond my mind and body. So the two, they're beautiful, and I think that book goes into the
Yeah.
different lineages as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I see them as exactly the same. Whether you go the koan path or the just sitting path, and we're kind of doing both at the 7-day cycle. During the day it's just sitting, and in the evening it's this more koan type inquiry. So
Okay.
so I see there's a convergence that happens
Yeah.
where you can start to see it's the same thing. You were somehow unhooking from the body mind and just being, just
Yeah. I normally I do choiceless awareness. So I just sit. I actually do that when I meditate. And I have had many times where the mind and the body dropped off.
Mhm.
The thing is that it doesn't last a lot. It
Yeah,
doesn't last long. So
yeah.
that's why I was mentioning the hope for unbound consciousness in a more permanent way.
Mhm.
But well,
Yeah,
I think it's just a matter of persistence and patience, and persistence and patience.
yeah, it is that. And one thing you mentioned, like the energy, the Kundalini energy. So, not everybody experiences that for some reason. I'm not sure why, but that was part of my path as well, that energy.
Mhm.
And that tends to produce, very beautiful peak experiences when that energy comes into alignment. There's a bliss and a merging experience that is
Mhm.
very, very, for the character, it's like the top experience when those experiences happen. So
Uh-huh.
in some ways, it's more difficult for people who have those peak experiences, because it's very, very hard not to chase those experiences.
Mm.
Once you've had those merging beautiful
Yeah.
experiences, the mind will always become, even when you hear a million teachers say, don't seek experiences, there's still a little part of the mind that's hoping. It's like, oh, I just want to get back
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
So that awareness, the one that is here now, having this experience, this awareness, and the one that was having a peak experience, it's the same awareness, so everything, all of these experiences are changing, but what we want to find, what we want to recognize that's here in this moment is that awareness, that the knower
Was
of
aware.
all of that experience. So who are you, that knows all of those experiences that come and go, all of that
Mhm.
energy, all of it. There's that knower, that awareness, so and that's, until we find that we are that, there, everything will be, it's this coming and going of experience.
Mhm.
But more and more we can just rest with that awareness, and that's what everything, that's what these koans are pointing to. it's pointing directly to the awareness that's here now. And it's not, not some different awareness or some special awareness. It's just ordinary awareness that's here now, but the mind will think, oh, it's something special.
Yeah.
It's a special state, but it's closer than that. It's always available.
Yeah. Like the awakening that stays as an unbound consciousness is more like the normal than the extraordinary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a recognition of what has always been here. And it's and so the sense of who and what I am, it's just that flip of, like, oh yeah, I'm of course I'm this presence, this awareness that has always been here. And it's to be in like that direct knowing of that, so the mind with all these koans and things, the mind it has to be disillusioned. It has to be this don't know mind, that, and once we really let that mind fail, then, what is it that remains, in this moment?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Selena. That's Leo. Hi, Leo.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
It's a little difficult to me to speak because I'm full of fear. There's so strong fear, overwhelming. More I'm sitting, more fear, anger, all kind of stuff is coming up. And it makes it so difficult to me to find a distance between someone who is seeing all these things and who is caught in these things.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes I want to run away because it's so overwhelming, and I'm also so with this inquiry. I ask myself who I'm really. I always see just the stuff what is not beautiful, what the mind finds ugly, and it's a really difficult situation for me. And I feel like in a tunnel, and I'm afraid to just talk because some unconscious things coming up, and I don't know where it lands. So that's,
So
and it was.
do you feel that fear right now in the body in this moment?
Yes.
So
I feel it.
so if you just sort of go inward in right now, can you just describe the sensations in the body, where they're located, how they're moving? Can you do that?
So it's deep in the belly. I feel that in the belly, and you hear that the voice get more away, and it's all shaking the body. Yeah, that's for the.
Yeah. So so those feelings in the body, like in this moment, what's happening in the mind? Is there any thoughts about that fear? Is there a...
Yeah, this fear is, of course, to fail, to. There's also a lot of judgment, a lot of moving in the head. It's
So yeah, what, first of all, when the fear comes up in the practice, um, to me it's a good sign that, because you're touching something that feels very real. You're touching a very deep aliveness in the body. So, usually, like if people are not coming in contact with that fear, usually everyone has to experience it at some point, because that's the deepest level of where the I thought is holding on to, so, so that the one that fear belongs to, who is that? You know, who is fearful? You know, so this is the true question. You know, are you, is that your fear, or is that the Leo character that is holding on to that fear? And who are you? Who are you that is aware of this character going through this process? Of purifying, of doing all of this work. This Leo character is, the one who, is just going through this process, this process of letting go. So who are you that's aware of that character?
I don't know. In the moment,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I really don't know.
yeah, and that's okay. And sometimes in this practice, um, you know, when these deep samskaras start to come up, whether it's fear, it's anger, can be deep sorrow for some people, whatever's in the unconscious. When these things come up, sometimes it really feels like it's me. It feels like I, like the sense of I is entangled. That sense of I comes up in all its fullness in this process. So sometimes in the dyads, you'll hear people saying, I really feel like I'm the character. I feel like, I went through this myself. Felt like I'm the Dan character, and I was at that time full of, all kinds of resistance, and, wasn't comfortable at all. And that's part of this process, is to just allow that. And the character wants to run away, do anything to get away from this process. But I think it can be really helpful to understand that, all it is, it's just a letting go of the control, letting go of knowing in the character. The fear, that comes up, like, what is it really fear of? We don't, is there,
Feels like
yeah, like, what is the character fearing? Does it even really know what it's fearing? It's just it's an uncomfortable process of disentangling and letting go. It's like we've had our hands on the steering wheel, and now we're taking the hands off, and it's like there's a tendency to, grasp what's familiar. So, but what is it that that the mind is really fearing? It's just sensations in the body mind. So, the mind can generate a million stories about what that fear might be. But really, what we want to do in the practice is just stay with the sensations and just have a complete experience of what is arising in the body. And the mind, the mind can, if we believe our thoughts, that can perpetuate the pattern of fear. So So if we just allow the energy to move, allow, stay on the energy level, the sensation level, and just allow it to the best that we can. But and if it gets overwhelming, then there may be times where we need to ground. If the body's shaking, if there's an unsteadiness, an ungroundedness, it may be opening up too much too fast. If the nervous system is getting too jagged, then that's the time maybe we can go for a walk in nature. Walk barefoot, or just take a little time, because we want to find that middle way of we don't want to overwhelm the system, or sometimes the character can really react and just say, screw this, I'm no more meditation. This is it's like it can develop an aversion to the practice as well. So we don't want to brutalize ourselves in this process. We want to, go beyond the comfort zone, but not way beyond, Yeah. So what's coming up for you in this moment right now? How did that land for you?
Yeah, that's. I had the idea in the morning. I was so overwhelmed, and then I took a walk and tried to go step by step to stay here, and how quick I'm again in a dream or in a fanta. Yeah, there's a lot of fantasizing. Even in the morning, I walked. The mind was speaking with you,
Mm.
but this is not here, and this is not. But then I see how yeah.
Yeah,
What can we say? What can I say? It's I don't know. It's so
yeah.
yeah.
And I hear this, over and over, as like the deeper we go into the practice, we really get to see the madness of the mind. Like the human condition, is a form of madness, and usually, the mind, all that it's producing is in the unconscious. So when we do this practice, the unconscious becomes conscious, and we see fully how crazy the mind is. So it can be disconcerting to see that, but it's actually better to see it than to have it running in the unconscious. It's actually what we want to see, is, all of these, you know, the delusions and the fantasies and the, whatever's playing out in the mind, we see how it's operating, and it's when we're looking directly at the mind, we can inquire. That's the best time to inquire. Who am I? I see this crazy mind. I'm watching it. I'm just watching this show. So who am I that sees this whole show? Can you directly just be with that awareness, without getting caught in the show? Just watch the show, allow the show to go on, to unfold, because there is an unfolding to this. That it's like doing deep surgery in these retreats. So, we don't live our lives in that surgery. There is a process to it where, what's hidden is revealed, and if it's fully allowed, it will arise and pass away.
And I want to say thank you to you and to everybody in this group, because it's also something, it touches the heart in me,
Thank you.
because thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Yeah, just keep going. I can feel, it is when you're deep in the process, it isn't comfortable, and I feel my heart. I remember some of my Vipassana retreats, going through all the uncomfortableness of that, and all I can say is there is, after it clears, it's so worth it. It's worth it in this process, and the pain, the resistance that we experience, earlier in the path. It is productive, to this purification, is, it is the way, and eventually even the pain, even the uncomfortableness, we will start to see that it is the way, that you will actually start to love even the pain, even the resistance. We can start to love that when we really see that it is the way to the deeper knowing of ourself. We can even embrace that, But the equanimity, it's like a little, as long as there's a little crack of equanimity, that's all we need. It's like just the little crack, and then it will open and open. Yeah. Thanks, Leo. Mhm. It's beautiful. I love how, when we do these sharings, it's like this dance where there's going into everything that's coming up, and then it's like this beautiful presence and silence, and it feels like I can feel almost this pristine silence after clearing whatever's coming up, and yeah, it's beautiful. So I think I'll let you all marinate in this, just be in presence for the rest of this time. And yeah, thank you for connecting. Yeah, we'll see you in the dyads, and next week we'll be back here as well. Okay. Thanks, everyone.